In a free market notion of healthcare, I would buy catastrophic insurance. I would buy insurance that would protect me against catastrophic illness or injury, as opposed to what we're currently doing. I just think that what happened was that we're going to drop 30 million more Americans onto a healthcare system with no added capacity. In fact, I think there'll be decreased capacity. It's going to result in rationing and higher costs. Looking at the immigration issue right now, I was the border governor in New Mexico. I really think I know something about immigration. I also think that there was another governor that knew a lot, a border governor that knew a lot about immigration and really had it right when it came to immigration reform, and that was George Bush. I just wish he would have implemented the reforms that were needed regarding immigration. So what are those reforms? I think very simply 75% of the immigration issue goes away very quickly if you just make it easy for immigrants to get a legal work visa, a background check. We don't want criminals in this country. Social Security card, we want them paying taxes, income tax, Social Security, Medicare. There needs to be immigration reform. It's about work, it's not about welfare. Legalize marijuana. Arguably 75% of the Mexican drug cartels' activities, violence goes away as a result of legalizing marijuana. Set up a grace period whereby those 15 million illegal immigrants that are in this country right now can get a work visa. And by the way, grace period, Bush called it amnesty. Amnesty, grace period, is not about citizenship. It's not about citizenship. Never was, never will be, shouldn't be. We need immigration reform to define what citizenship will be, but citizenship won't be for any illegal immigrant that somehow now gets a legal work visa, okay? So really make that distinction. The notion of putting the National Guard arm in arm across 1,600 miles of border, I think, is a whole lot of money that gets spent that doesn't accomplish what we're really after, which I would argue is what I just talked about. Spend less money, enforce the laws that we have once you get it cleaned up, and let law enforcement focus on those individuals that are here illegally. Make it a one strike, you're out, that if you're here illegally after all this reform has taken place, then you're not coming back. You're just not coming back. And then looking at defense, yeah.
What do you think will happen to wages? So if you're taking the employer off the hook, that he's not going to get in trouble then for hiring a documented work visa person.
Right.
What do you foresee then wages would? What would?
Actually, I don't see anything happening. I mean, my experience in New Mexico is that with regard to workers from Mexico, absolute cream of the crop when it comes to workers coming over from Mexico. Oftentimes there's language issues, and wherever there's language issues, where you really can't communicate as an employer, then wages are much lower because of the communication issue. But they're really bent on learning the language, just as the history of this country has demonstrated. I mean, we are a country of immigrants. And statistically, immigrants that come to the United States take about 7 years to really acclimate when it comes to language. So as soon as they learn that language, there's no differentiation at all when it comes to pay. This is my experience. I think this is the experience of the border.
Thank you.
And then just for a second on defense. I believe in a strong national defense. I think that it's one of the items that government should provide. It's in the Constitution. But I would argue that our defense, that our security is not being threatened in either Iraq or Afghanistan. I would have been opposed to us going into Iraq in the first place. believing that we had the military surveillance capability to see Iraq roll out any weapons of mass destruction. We could have gone in and had a strike and taken care of that. I thought that if we went into Iraq, we would find ourselves mired in a civil war to which there would be no end. When we went into Afghanistan, initially, I thought that was completely warranted. I thought that was a strike. I thought that was about getting Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda, but they're not there anymore. So we're now entering into our 10th year of engagement in Afghanistan. We're building roads, schools, bridges, highways, and hospitals in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we're borrowing 43 cents out of every dollar to do this. We're nation building when we have our own nation to build. Out of the dollar that's being spent worldwide right now on military spending, defense spending, 50 cents of that dollar is being spent by the United States, and we're 5% of the world's population. I just think that all these treaties that were negotiated 70 years ago need to be renegotiated to reflect a new world reality. And that new world reality is we can't afford to continue to do what we're doing. We're bankrupt. So December 1st of this year, I formed Our America Initiative. I'm trying to put a voice to what I think is the outrage over Americans being bankrupt and real solutions regarding how to remedy it, which is slashing spending, which is cutting tax, making this place, our country, a favorable place to do business. I wouldn't be here right now if what I was saying was being said. I wouldn't be here right now if what I'm saying I think didn't need to be said. So I would love to entertain any questions or comments or insults that any of you might have.
Now, what do you think about ending the Federal Reserve and you're returning our currency to like gold or silver standard currency like it was?
Based on what I know, first of all, we can't even get an audit of the Fed. Okay, I think we need to have an audit of the Fed. I think that at a minimum, the Fed needs to return to its original purpose, which was price stability. But we can't even get an audit of the Fed. But based on what I know, if a bill went through Congress to abolish the Federal Reserve, I would sign that bill. I don't think it's going to happen because we can't even audit the Fed. Based on what I know on a commodity-based currency, based on what I know, if that were a bill that went through Congress to do that, I would sign that bill. But I don't think that's going to happen either.
I was just going to follow up there. I don't think the Federal Reserve has ever done anything about price stability. Following the Federal Reserve was the federal income tax, and it went through the roof during Woodrow Wilson's time.
Yeah.
We were heading into a major depression. Thank goodness for Calvin Coolidge and, like you're talking, reduced taxes big time and reduced spending. That was headed off. I agree with what you're saying about people having a climate where business can be done. Right now, this is why things aren't happening. It's because people know the taxes are coming up next year. They know they're going to be hit with this Obamacare.
And I would agree completely with what you're saying. I would just add to it that I think if there's one word to describe what exists right now, it's uncertainty. We don't know how much taxes are going up. We don't know where. And government could be providing certainty. Mm-hmm. And if government were to provide a certainty that government was bent on fixing the entitlement obligations, if government were to send a signal that spending was going to get slashed to be in line with revenue, if government were to send a message that really we're looking to reduce taxes to make this a favorable economic development, instantly you'd see markets react by going up. And when markets go up, when people have 401k plans that gain in value, they have confidence, they go buy things. When people buy things, businesses hire to meet the increased demand for goods and services. To me, it's that simple.
Yeah.
But we're in the opposite. We're doing the opposite.